there are explanations for that. I mean, I'm just saying, when you're singing a ballad, even with Jason, I would say, like, we'd be on an award show, like, singing a song. I'm like, can you pretend you want to whoop? Like, can you just, like, can you pretend to look at me and be like, yes? Like, you know, I get dead face. I get like, no one wants to date that. Yeah. Anyway, but no, I did say that. But I said it because every time we did it, I was like, does he like the song, or did he want to sing with me? Like, I was like, but anyway, that's all the truth. I'm not gonna coach like that. Sexual harassment is wrong. But I'm gonna be honest with you, I have been like legit terrified. I haven't eaten a thing, I might pass out. Like, I don't like giving speeches. When they actually told me about this, I said no, because I knew the speech. I said yes until they said speech, and I went, oh, it's so sad, but no. And then I thought, I can rise above this, and maybe I might not, I might pass out, but he'll laugh, it'll be funny. But he made me just feel more comfortable. Thank you, Blake, I love you. Because I was very, very nervous, but now I feel a little more relaxed now that you really know who I am. Yay. Thank you for not telling the New Year's Eve story. It really wasn't as bad as it sounds. It was more funny, and we found out how much of a little boy Adam is when he gets in trouble. That's okay, though. It really was. It was funny. I was like, what is happening? You're like in a corner crying about it. But like, we're going to be fine. We actually weren't going to get arrested. We were very responsible adults with a designated driver. But we had probably had too much. I'm going to get to the point, which is totally not alcohol. Like, I am excited though, because I just saw her out of my peripheral vision. I can't, like, she's Wonder Woman. I can't. I'm so nervous. I just got sidetracked because I feel like that's what we were meant to look like, and it just, I don't know. I literally went to the movie. I had totally stage 5 clingered Patty like earlier, because I was like, I love this movie. I don't know what James Cameron's talking about. Like, it's the most amazing thing ever. And especially for women that are moms. Like, I mean, the story of Belle the Beast, it's a little scary. She was in a dungeon trapped, and then they fell in love. Like, it's like, you know, like, or Aurora, she just like slept it out. Like, she didn't do a damn thing. Like, you know. And those are like her favorite ones. And I'm like, oh, but she loves Wonder Woman. She's 3. I probably shouldn't show it to her. I know I'm being judged. I don't care. All the grown-up stuff goes over her head. So, but it's nice. It is nice to have like this, you know, bold, you know, female figure for your girls. Because like, once she saw the little girl in Wonder Woman, like, you know, learning how to fight and like defend herself and all that, like, she loved it. She started acting it out, and I couldn't have been more proud, because you're a little proud because you're like, oh, you're cute in the Belle dress, but you're more proud when she's like, like in the corner. Yeah, you're more proud. So thank you. And you're like, I mean, I'm just gonna say this. I mean, she's like not only like, she's not only like one of the most beautiful people, she's also like a really great actress, and also like really intelligent. I saw her on Jimmy Fallon, and I was like, you know, screw you. Bitch got it all. She got it all. We have to work so hard. She's just naturally, innately awesome at everything. Like, she's just so funny. I was like, oh, but I love you. I can't even believe I'm looking at you. We've been talking about you at our table. Like, you got up to like, I don't know, pee or something, and I was like, well, like so different. It's like, I'm so nervous, I'm shaking. I haven't even talked about anything I'm supposed to talk about. So, we've covered alcohol, my little girl learning to fight, super Texan right now. But I'm a Democrat, just if you were wondering. But anyway, so thank you so much. I really am like so excited to get this award because not only like it was an amazing thing when they called and it wasn't just about us, you know, it wasn't so egocentric. It was about us standing up here and having a platform for organizations that don't have that. They don't have the spotlight that we get by being in the spotlight. So it was very cool that's the only reason why I said yes to the speech. Because I thought it was an important thing and it's my duty almost to do that. So thank you so much. I literally was floored. I think I even tweeted about it because I was like, did they just run out of people? Was I like the last one? Because like, how am I in the same group as these women? I live a very quiet life in Tennessee, and so it's not every day that you follow Priyanka or Michelle Pfeiffer. You're like, okay, it's not normal. But I was very excited though to be amongst them. And I recently met actually Octavius at a Today show, I think it was, we were at, and she was so lovely. And I will say this, it's such a nice thing when you meet your heroes, especially women, because I feel like women are always pitted as bitches, or, you know, I heard them say it in the show, if you're strong or you're powerful or you have a lot of confidence, which I do, and I'm unapologetic for, but it's, yes, enter stank face. It's my stank face. You're gonna see that on The Voice. Right after I kick your ass. It's like, I'm just saying this because I have the mic and you don't. He'd have some kind of witty comeback. But no, it's a blessing to be honored with all these women. And I found it interesting. I might have just tangent queened it, but whatever. I didn't use the teleprompter because every time I use it, I go dyslexic. I get really nervous, and so I have my really like. I mean, it's like I've done this, and like I'm so nervous about it. But I have my points. But I did find it interesting, regardless of this paper. You know, Michelle was up here talking about EWG, right? I got that right? EWG, I'm nervous, so I'm pretty sure I got the initials right. And even Priyanka up here talking about, you know, educating these girls and just focusing on these little kids, because it's very interesting that the thing that I'm talking about today and that I love and that I recently found, and I worked with XQ Super Schools for this event, where they went across 4 different networks on television, and really it wasn't asking you for money, it wasn't asking you for anything other than investing, like investing in your children, investing in those around you to make a better world. And I know it sounds like a cheesy sentiment, but it's a really hard time to have kids. We have 4 children ranging from 1 to 16, and it's a really, you know, difficult time when you're sitting at lunch and like your 16-year-old who, oh, I'm with you, Judd, like all they live, hey, like all it is Instagram time. But it's a really interesting thing when you're sitting at lunch or dinner and all of a sudden they bring up like, wait, what did this mean when he said this? Or what did this mean when she said this? And you're like, and you get really sweaty because you don't even want to, you feel like all you're doing is explaining away every day. You know, you're explaining away everything negative or everything hateful or everything. It just becomes this very dark thing. So it's very important. I thought it was pretty cool that XQ Super Schools is all about education. So not just education in the sense of like science or math or the, you know, the core subjects obviously that we all took and loved, and sucked at science. But it's really about education at the end of the day. It's educating yourself for the environment. Not just because, you know, I think a lot of people write people off in Hollywood, or even, you know, they call them tree huggers, and they say, oh, the environment. And it's like, it's not a fad. It's like, it's your life, it's your health. And especially when you're a parent, I agree with Michelle, you go crazy trying to figure out all these things. Like, wait, what am I doing? Am I going to kill my child with like unknowingly? Like, am I going to, you know, you look up all these products. That's why Jessica Alba, I know, started the Honest Company. You know, a lot of women, we become mothers, and it's not focused on yourself. You're focused on this individual that you're supposed to help mold to prepare for the world. And it's a big task. It's a heavy task, and it's nerve-wracking. And I think literally, no matter who gets up here today and what they talk about, it really does boil down to education. It boils down, and my mother was a phenomenal teacher. I mean, she got paid jack, and most teachers do where I'm from, but she came every day early and left late and helped kids catch up with the other kids, because there's 26 to 30 kids in each class, and all those kids learn differently. All those kids need to be engaged differently. They're captivated by different things. And so she worked her ass off, honestly, like to really help out and engage these kids, not only just in the school time, but even afterwards. Like they'd find out like somebody didn't have clothes, like somebody didn't have enough food, like, and they'd, the teachers they were these amazing teachers that got together and really made a giant impact on these kids' lives. And if we all focused on being an impact in just one little kid's life, like imagine the adults that would come to fruition. Like imagine the society we would live in, and it's really what turned me on was because of that's a weird statement. Sorry, I always go there, even though I'm on before. The fire's never dead. But what I found important is with XQ Super School, they focused and they did this. I think it was like 10 schools they chose. If I'm off on the number, I'm sorry, but I think it was 10 they chose at first to start and kind of be these like guinea pig schools to see what would it make an impact, us going in and instead of like, I know in Houston, Texas, they had this school right next to just this barren land and it looked like a wasteland. And they took the kids and they made gardens. They taught these kids not only how to garden, but just they became these something else that you normally don't do in school. I never did anything like that in school. And then what turns that into is something like Michelle was talking about. You learn about your environment. You learn about the soil you're using. You learn about what we do to that soil. You're learning so many things outside of just math, science, English, whatever. And those are all very important things. I just think we have a very archaic system right now. And honestly, my mother, worked her tail off, and I'm here really for her, like carrying the torch that she's been carrying for years, and all these other teachers that are made to fit these guidelines just for testing. And it really doesn't make sense because I don't remember shit from that. Like, I don't remember anything from chemistry. Not that my teacher did a bad job, but what she was supposed to teach me with did not impact me. And it's not her fault necessarily. It's the fact that the system is broken. And if we took kids and took them outside and showed them how to garden or showed them, how to be respectful with animals, like, there's all these other things, these psychological elements that come into play when you think outside the box. And maybe they won't be a gardener when they grow up, but they're gonna know like all those discipline actions, like the obedience of that, the watching something. If you have grown a garden, which my husband and I have, 1 year because we're busy, but we did it 1 year, and it was the most fruitful thing to like cook with your vegetables that you grew with organic stuff. We looked it up. I didn't look it up in EWG, but I hope it was good. I got very nervous when she said that. I was like, what? I was like, it's not, they just lie. People are liars. Like, it's weird. But anyway, it was just such a fulfilling thing. And even our kids, like growing flowers or doing anything, it gives them such a, school isn't just about just the core curriculum. It's about social environment and setting them up for the future, setting them up to be able to, I find a lot of kids sometimes are socially inept because they just stuck to the basics in their books. And those are very important. But at the same time, it's very important to think outside the box. And I feel that XQ Super Schools has been doing a fabulous job. They just began in 2015. And even just 2 years later, you see the difference that it's made in these schools that are like kind of the quote, they probably don't want me to say the word guinea pig. I just don't know another word because I'm nervous. Have I been breathing? I don't know. But I literally feel the Whitney Houston sweat, like all of it. I'm gonna have to like peel the Spanx off. It's fine. But anyway, so I found it really telling that no matter who's gonna get up here, even from Priyanka and Michelle, like the core thing is teaching not only yourself to take care of your children, but teaching your children to take care of themselves. Teaching your children to know better, to know the difference between being hateful, to know the difference between being kind, to know the difference, between being egocentric and to knowing the difference in looking outside of yourself and helping someone who maybe can't help themselves in a certain situation. And that all applies to all this innovation and progressiveness that XQ Super Schools is offering up. And I love that they're not asking for money. They're giving you money. They're giving these schools grants. They're giving these people opportunity, especially this school in Houston. They had like I can't remember the percentage, but it was like the lowest percentage of graduates. And that's very telling of the community and what's going on there. And if we're ignoring, those are kids. They don't have a choice at that point. It's our job. That's our job to help them. They're children. And so it's just one of those things. Sorry. But I just was really touched by XQ Super Schools, and I implore that you all look into it, especially even if you don't have children. It's like, he made that joke earlier about, well, I have daughters, but if I didn't have daughters, it'd still be fucking gross, and that's the same thing. Even if you don't have kids, we're all affected. Just so you know, if you don't have children, well, you go to the mall, you go to eat at restaurants, these people impact your life indirectly. So it's not some direct impact to you. Every one of us impacts somebody. There's that whole separation, how many ever people, I can't remember. I feel like George Bush with the fool me once, but I can't remember. But fool me 4 times, I don't know. Are you taping this? I hate you. My friend's taping this. Oh, I know, she's gonna run out of, oh, how long have I been talking? Oh, I'm so sorry, I get so nervous. I keep talking, I've probably been talking forever. I didn't even look at my notes, but I really do. I think that y'all should look into XQ Super Schools. Even if you don't have children, it's such an important thing for our society, especially in such a time that is so divisive and so scary to have kids. So that's it, I'm sorry, thank you.